So you're from Buffalo.
Yes.
And you described like growing up you were alone a lot. And as a byproduct you watched a lot of TV, got into animation.
Who told you that?
I do my research.
Okay.
You know, I'm Nardwar over here. Just kidding, not Nardwar, but I wish. What are some of your favorite TV shows?
My favorite TV shows?
Yeah.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
It's badass.
I used to watch that early in the morning. It came on at like a weird time. Like I would go to school at like 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. So I'm getting up at like 5:30. It's still dark outside, but like moving into the morning. So that was like my weird before school cartoon. Max Steel, surprisingly. Yu-Gi-Oh! Fucking Scooby-Doo. I love everything on Cartoon Network from day to night. Nickelodeon day to night.
Do you like Ren and Stimpy or like?
Ren and Stimpy was definitely like one of those. I'm not gonna say I was like an avid Ren and Stimpy fan. I love Ren and Stimpy, but I had to get into it as an adult because when I was a kid,
it was too weird for me.
When I was a kid, I didn't really get it. Even though I was interested in it, I'm like, I didn't really watch it as much. I watched like Angry Beavers, fucking Cat Dog, Heavy Cat Dog, and Hey Arnold. Yeah.
I love the Angry Beavers.
Yeah, the Angry Beavers was one of my silent favorites.
Yeah. I know that you're getting into animation currently, or you've been practicing your animation.
Yes, I have.
What do you hope to accomplish with that?
I want to put together my own comic.
Okay.
And create an animated series derived from the comic, derived from this character that I've been working on and working with the TV boy character. So I'm just like creating a universe right now with my friends, and we'll see where the future takes us.
That's super cool. Okay, so when did you first start getting into painting? I know that you studied visual arts in college, but like when did you first actually start getting into painting?
Well, I studied visual arts in high school.
Okay, in high school, I'm sorry.
Yeah, at Performing Arts. But I started painting, I would say around 2015, 16 for myself. And what I mean by painting for myself, like painting things that I just wanted to paint, or I just like had the feeling to paint, not being told to paint something or instructed to do an assignment. Like I was already doing my music, and I feel like it came out of I don't know, I just needed to do something else. I wanted to try something else for myself, to like stretch myself, I guess, because I was doing the music and working so hard on that. I kind of got lost in it and was like losing my creative self. And so I don't know, tapping back into the arts, it was a way for me to like just loosen up really and kind of use the other side of my brain to pull some inspiration. And it just felt good. It felt good. It ultimately ended up being therapeutic because it was something that I didn't consider myself to be good at. And I know to me, like whether you're good at something is just like how much fun you having with it, how comfortable you feel with the process of it. So I knew it wasn't like, oh, I'm bad at painting, because it's like the stuff that I was looking at, I'm like, wow, you don't really have to be a good painter, you just have to there's no such thing as a good painter. It's like just having ideas, like having an idea and a need to express it, and, whatever vehicle you use. So I'm like, I want to use a paintbrush. I want to see how I can express myself with this without thinking about it too hard. So I had to, like, of course, just like play with it, like pick it up and just start. And it didn't feel like how it do now, when I pick up a spray can and I'm like just flowing, because I know what I want to do, even when I don't know what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I know I just want to get it out, and however I see that come out, and I'm happy with that, as long as while I'm challenging myself through that medium. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just having fun with it. And
so you didn't have any like formal training, like as far as like in college or anything?
Nah, not in college. Like high school, I feel like was the most formal training I got. It was a performing arts school, and I was a visual arts major, so I was able to be. I was exposed to all the different forms of art, photography, to paint, to just like arts and crafts, like all the different shit, and like drawing. But I feel like I was stronger in drawing, like pencil drawing and hyper realistic stuff. And it was difficult for me in high school because I was surrounded by so many talented people that already knew that they wanted to paint or like knew they wanted to take photos. I just knew I like cartoons and like I like drawing stuff that I saw when I felt like it or when I was bored. I didn't really have like ideas yet when it came to art. I was just mimicking stuff that I saw.
So was it like your parents that like got you? Were like, you're talented in art, you should go to an art school?
Yeah, my guidance counselor. She's like, you should take it serious. Cause I was going to a public school, so it was like in the hood. I guess when they see somebody doing something, when you see somebody doing something and they like it, it's like they suggested that I go to a performing arts school. My grades was always good, so it was just a matter of applying. And I ended up getting into the performing arts school, like the equivalent of like how a Juilliard's would be in New York, just like the dance majors, theater majors, music majors, art majors. I was just surrounded by talented people, like a lot of talented people. And I feel like that challenged me. Even communication arts, like as far as visual, TV and production. So I feel like that just challenged me as far as working with other people and being able to see art, more importantly, from a production standpoint, how they all come together in order to communicate a vision or an idea, whether it's dance, music.
Yeah. What have been some pivotal influences in like getting to the point of creating like the aesthetic that you're at now with your painting and everything? Because I feel like it's a very like iconic aesthetic right now in your career. Like, how did you get there?
Traveling. Like, I've been living in New York. Well, I've been living outside of Buffalo for 4 years now. I moved to New York in 2018. While living here, got a crib in Brooklyn with my friend Haji. Well, he got a crib and been living with him. And now we running a studio now. Then end up moving to Atlanta with Westside Gun. Staying there for a while, and then moving to LA, getting a crib in LA. It's just like the combination of different spaces and places and people, ideas. Just learning myself in the world. Atlanta is where I found the camouflage style. Because I was already, honestly, I was doing a project for Ferg and I wanted to try something out. I tried out this camouflage thing. He didn't like the idea, so I decided to try it for myself and just keep playing with it. I knew I wanted to pick up spray painting, and I feel like the two came together. I was painting with the markers and trying to do the style, but I couldn't get it to go because the paint was water-based, so it would keep mixing. I was trying to overlap. Then I had just learned how to do oil paint with Alla Prima, wet on top of wet. So I'm like, you know what? I want to just try something different. I'm gonna try the spray paint, and I just was practicing circles, squiggles with the spray paint, and almost was like a therapy type thing because I literally was just meditating, filling in the space, like filling in the space, like putting my feelings into the space and like going over the mistakes with other feelings. And then it's like it become a camouflage because now I'm like covering up my mistakes. So where people don't even see that it's just a bunch of mistakes that got covered up, until it's like a mosaic of colors. And that's just like me in my mind, like playing with color theory. Like what colors do I like to see touching each other? And then how do I get colors to overlap without touching? So it's like an orange can be connected to a blue through the pink and the maroon that overlap with each other without them actually having to touch. And it still fit. It's like I see the colors like how words are. You could understand a word from seeing the beginning and last letter. And I feel like with images, it's certain colors that when you see them in a way, with certain images, like it's like fragments, and you get the idea without the whole thing being there. And I feel like that style has come out of response of like, I've always just been heavy on like detail and just like hyper realistic, want to do as much as possible. And I feel like now I'm like, just for myself, and even with doing the music, like so many layers, you got to work with so many people. I just want to get like
to the root of it, like
yeah,
making it like minimal,
right to the point, you know, and minimal in a point where it's poignant. Like you get the gist from like a stroke.
And it's also kind of like goes with a lot of the things that like your philosophy in life, like talking about like growing and like moving forward and like cutting out like bullshit and everything. It's kind of like goes hand in hand with that, like minimalizing your artwork.
Definitely, like the noise, like cutting the noise so that people can like hear the art voice. Because sometimes it whispers, you know what I'm saying? It's not always. It may speak loud, like it may be loud or appear loud, but most of the time it's like a simple message that's just like to get you to stop and breathe for a second. You know what I mean? It's not as like as complicated as we make it. The more complicated part is breaking things down to the simplest form and like developing a secondhand language to where it can be simple. You know what I mean? Like you don't gotta explain it as much. You know.
Yeah.
So that's really like the consistency and shit, like love, light, and life. You know, the elements.
I feel like you are a very philosophical person. Do you study philosophy?
You know what? I took a philosophy class in college, in community college. That changed. Like that was like that was important. I guess you could say that was pivotal, because like. It just made me think about who I was as a more than a person, as a human being, and like what a human is in its duality in terms of being a spiritual being, a light being, you know, and expressing like the physical or like the pain body, and just like the love for wisdom, love for knowing, and like taking in all the knowledge, but being okay with it, being able to like. You know, being able to tell about it, to talk about it, and share it in a way where it's like storytelling and can help people to breathe. Because it's all like life is a series of cycles, you know, and it's an ongoing unfoldment. It's like never ending. So I feel like while we're here, a part of the journey is to like. Not worry so much, to make it lighter almost, to make the weight of it all lighter, you know? But it's like worries, it's like nothing but worries and pain. Like, that's all of life. So I'm like, I don't know, I have a love for wisdom. I love philosophy.
And it's all like that stems from kind of like not being conscious. Is like worrying, you know, like that's like your thinking mind.
Yeah.
But if you like step back and like observe, that's just like all nonsense. Like you're saying, just like the worries and everything have nothing to do with, you know, your actual being.
Right.
You know, like your true soul.
Right.
I know that this is my last question. I know like your biggest like a theme of yours is that you want to help kids and you want to help people like grow. What is some advice that you would give to people that want to find themselves? I know you are a big proponent of that, of finding yourself and only like looking at yourself and not looking at other people for the answers, but looking inside yourself. So what is your advice on how to do that?
My first advice would be don't take my advice. Because
You're like, exactly, don't look at me.
Yeah, because I'm only human, and a part of my whole mode of thinking is like, can't nobody tell you what to do. Can't nobody tell you how to do it. It's like we can only show each other. You know, that's why people need people. We need to see other examples and to witness the glory of like life that's like greater than us. Because it's something amazing in all of us that's like making us go. I feel like taking that time with yourself to breathe in the mirror, like really look at yourself in the mirror. Ever since I was a child, I always just like had a love for the mirror, and not a vain way, but just like a curious way of like what's beyond the surface. You know what I mean? And just like first step is breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. That's probably the best advice on the planet. It is so simple. It don't take nothing. If you take an acid trip, you'll see why breathing is so important. Because like, it's probably the hardest thing to do consciously, because it's involuntary. You don't got to think about breathing. So when you think about it and take a breath, it feels so good because you probably need it, you know, to stop yourself from thinking and just like driving on these thoughts. Let your brain feel and like flow. Trust the process, you know what I mean?
My last question is the bonus question that I ask everyone. Where is your favorite place to eat? Like a low-key spot maybe other people wouldn't know about.
Okay, I just found the Essex Market today.
Okay.
I like this spot, but I'm not gonna hold you. I love the little Chinese spot on Grand.
Okay.
It's a little Chinese spot on Grand. They only take cash, but they always bustin'. That's like my favorite. I've probably gone to that spot the most, besides Margaritaville. Margaritaville and the Lower East Side and Chinese spot on Grand around the corner from Lambs.
Okay.
I'm a Buffalo kid, so like I'm still discovering my comfort zones. I got a few delis that I love in Brooklyn. I love the 62nd floor for hosting me and letting me charge my phone when I was a vagabond. And yo, shout out to you for watching. Shout out to you for having insightful questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
You already know.